All right, we are going to harvest honey today. It's September 19th. Some people harvest at the end of August or early September. I usually wait until it starts getting around 40 degrees at night, and that's where we're at, and with highs in the 60s. So we're gonna harvest. I don't know how much honey I have out there. I'm hoping to get 5 gallons. It was a difficult summer for my bees, just with hardly any rain, so not a good nectar flow. We will go out there and take off one box frame at a time and probably stand it on end, and I'll use this leaf blower, battery powered leaf blower, to blow out the frames and get as many bees off as I can, and I'll bring them in here and set them here. And just stack them. Usually takes minutes, and then I'll put the hive back together again real quick. I need to do that later in the morning so that it's warmer. That way the bees, most of the bees will be out. I hope that at least half in there, or maybe a third, will be out foraging to reduce the amount of bees in the hive that I have to blow out. They should live through that blowing out process, but some might not. But it's coming back down into the hive that sometimes is the issue, fitting them all in there. And then we'll drop the frames into this electric spinner. So this has settings on it. We just open this up and slip those frames in here. I think I got 4 frames last year, and you just flip them around, spin again, and it just starts to collect in the bottom here. And at some point I'll put this honey bucket here, and this honey bucket will have this filter in it with that pressed on rim around the top of it to keep it up out of the honey in the bottom. And what collects in the bottom here will collect in the bottom there as I empty this into here. And I'll just keep pulling this up onto the table periodically, and we will use these jars. We'll just unscrew the lids and use this spigot spout on the bottom of the white bucket to fill a jar at a time. All right, we are going to pull these honey supers, see what we've got in there. There's a wasp, kill that guy. We'll see how they did this summer. Trying to rig this up so you'll be able to see everything I'm doing. Hopefully that works. This usually goes pretty quick. It's just a little bit chaotic with the bees depending on how upset they are. This hive really likes propolis. There's always a lot of it. And then I'm getting orange all over me. I get it from the trees, the sap. Seal everything up. See a whole lot of honey in this top one, but there's a little bit in there. I can feel the weight of it.
Some guard bees already coming at me. A lot of bees in there that don't want to be out. Middle chamber's out. Now I'm pretty sure this one's empty. Ooh, that's hot. I'm gonna stop filming. You can see how many bees are out here. All right, we're back inside. Oops, sorry about that. It's warm. Only like 60 degrees. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning. No, it's about noon actually. So I backed the truck up outside my door here, set these on the ground on the asphalt, and blew them out some more. So there's probably only a couple dozen bees in there. Sounds like there's a lot, but there's not that many. And then they'll start gathering. There's one already. Gathering at this window and these windows. Oh, there's two up there. So they just want to go back to the hive, but I gave them a chance. They hung on. They've never bothered me once I have these in here. So these two boxes, the top one on that, these three, was pretty light. On the one on the other hive that's been weak all summer was pretty light. So I'm not expecting a lot of honey. Hopefully we can get at least 3 gallons, maybe 4. We'll see. Let's get to work. I got to get this heat going though. Okay, I'm gonna take that scraper, start scraping. There's a bee. Come on, bee, leave me alone. He's confused. He doesn't know where he's at. Usually they're not around me. They go straight for the window. So I'm gonna scrape here. There's 2 wasps. What the heck? Where'd they come from? I got 2 dead wasps in there, dang it. Oh, so I'm gonna scrape while it sits right here and then set it down in there and get 4 frames in there. All right, so I scraped 4 frames, both sides, and put them in there. This side's dry, so it didn't have honey in it, but the rest of them have double sides. See a few bees still in there crawling around. We have really good honey in this frame and really good honey in that box. So I can't remember how I set them in here before, if I put them in like this or like this. I've only used this 1 year, last year, so let's see what happens. I'm gonna take off my other glove. Good, and we just let it spin. This is the hardest thing, is just with the electric one, it's nice. The first couple years I hand cranked, it took like 8 hours. It was a nightmare. So I spent $300, bought this last year, and it was so nice. The only problem is you just have to sit back for a few hours and bide your time while it spins. Still spinning the first 4 frames. See, this guy's all clustered. Like I said, they typically don't bother me in here. They just go right to those windows and they want to be there. Even if I open that door, which I will sometimes do later in the day when the other bees outside have moved off back to the hives, they still won't go out. They'll just sit there, and then by the afternoon or evening they'll be dead on the floor. Sitting here, and by the morning for sure. Those chunks in there are just the wax caps that I scrape off with that scraping tool. So there'll be a whole bunch of wax in there. And that's what all this debris stuff is too. This is just wax. If it's shiny, it has some honey, but this is just wax. And what I'll do is, when I'm all done today, either this evening or probably what I'll do is tomorrow or something, I'll set all of these frames, even though they're empty, once I spit them out, and this thing, this big unit, I'll set them out by the hives, and the bees over the course of a day will just go through and take every speck of honey out of this thing that might be in there and off the frames, that just the remnants of it, and take it back into the hives. And when I go pick them up the next morning or whatever, they're just completely empty of honey. Every little speck is gone. It's kind of cool. filled that jar successfully while holding the camera without breaking anything, and then I realized I forgot to press record, so let me try and do it a second time. Hang on. Can't. There we go. It's really dark honey this year. We didn't have that early crop of dandelions and a late midsummer crop of alfalfa blossoms. So I don't know where they're getting their nectar from, but it's much darker this year. Look at that. Beautiful. Trying to get the last of it. A lot of wax at this point. I should be able to get at least these last 7 jars and maybe some more out of this. But these jars here, I would have 48 pint jars, 8 ounces, and 12, 48 half pint jars, which is 8 ounces, and then 12 full pint jars, which is 16 ounces, the bigger ones. And that would give me 4.5 gallons exactly. And like I said, I might have get a little bit more than that. And so it'd be pushing between 4.5 and 5 gallons, which is close to what I got the last 2 years. So go figure. The two boxes that were full this year were really full. Every frame was just decked out. And in past years, I'll have like 3 boxes, and the outside frames might be a little bit sparse or just one side full. So they were really staying down tight close in those first 2 boxes. And they put just a little bit in the 3rd box on that one hive, and the other hive with 1 box had nothing in it, not even a drop of honey. So I opened this door for a while, mainly to air it out because of the propane exhaust smell, but and a lot of this big cluster of bees left. But I even opened this door for a little while, but these bees wouldn't let go of that window. So, but I did take the boxes out. Ooh, here we go. So I set this out here because I had a bunch of dripped honey on it, and I wanted that clean off. And I put the empty boxes, out there in front of the hives. So I'm gonna move those hives over here. I'll show you. So greenhouse is down to its last days. We've got a few squash in there, and some tomatoes we'll continue picking. I've been vacuum bagging them for stews and soups and vacuum sealing them in bags and then putting them in the freezer. So I've got a whole bunch. So I cut all this out with a sod cutter and gave it to them, the neighbors. And then I put in this patch, and I'm going to set the 2 hives right here for the winter. So I'm going to move those over one of these upcoming nights and place them. And then I'm going to put in 3 slider windows, I think, in this for next year, so that the bees will go in there and pollinate. Because I had a lot of problems with things just not getting pollinated. Namely the squash. It took quite, and the tomatillos never got pollinated. They just wouldn't grow. I mean, they produced the bells all over, but they never grew fruit inside the bells. Something kind of funny, looking to see if you can still see tracks. I've been walking around in there, but a deer keeps coming in here, and you can see his tracks in here. I kept finding bitten tomatoes and bitten bell peppers. And there's a tomato down there that one bit last night and just left it on the ground. But they'll eat those. I had to Google it, and they're like, yeah, they will eat them. So this is where the bees are going for the winter. And I'll probably just leave them here, and I'll plant some like wildflowers and maybe a couple rows of potatoes. But I really want them off the county easement over there and pollinating my greenhouse and pollinating my big strawberry patches. We got a ton of strawberries this year, and my big raspberry patch. So that's it. You go finish up. It's fall. Feels good.